In this video, I just want to take a step back from the immediate topic and to just look at some of the responses that I've had to this video that I put up the other day. Quite a few of you have seen by now the video I made about the Mill Road Bridge closure, where I went and got the views of 10 or so different traders to see how the closure is likely to affect their business. That video has been viewed now 457 times, which is quite astonishing, really. I wasn't really expecting that, but I suppose that's what happens when you make a video about something that's actually quite important. The reason I'm making this video now is because there's a couple of comments here which are quite interesting, and I think they raise an important issue, which I've decided to delve a little bit deeper into. So, I am I'm all in favour of discussion and sometimes argument. And if at any point I say something in one of my videos which is wrong or untrue, or if you have some argument to retort, you're very welcome to put your comments here. That's what it's for. But if you say something which is not true, or if you make an argument which is lightweight and flimsy, then I'm going to show it for what it is. So here we have a comment here by this user called Cambridge Livable Streets Campaigner. So right from the get-go, you know where he's coming from, he or she. Cambridge Livable Streets Campaigner. He's somebody who's actually campaigning for the thing. His videos are all about the roads. He's in favour of the Mill Road Bridge closure, all that kind of thing. So you see where he's coming from. Anyway, he commented on my video yesterday or the day before yesterday. So he says, "There's never been a proper poll or survey conducted." That's a quote. He's quoting me, something I say in the video, because that's true. There has never been a proper poll or survey conducted. And I will explain why. He has taken issue with that. His response to that, he says, "There have been 2 massive consultations, billboards for drivers, posters in the shops, Facebook postings constantly, newspaper articles, radio debates, you name it. Both came out with a majority to restrict the traffic. The second had thousands of responses. It had strong local resident response rate, not from cyclists, 72% in favour." Now, that is not true. Okay, and the reason why I said that in the video is because the GCP or the council, whoever, are conflating a public consultation process with an actual opinion poll, which allows them to formulate policy and gauge public opinion. Now, if he's saying that 72% have turned out in favour to some kind of poll or survey, let's have a look at those results. They aren't available. I've asked Dave Bagent 3 times now through the email where that is that we can see. Where was the poll? When was the poll? What are the results of the poll? There haven't been one. There've been consultations. Now, consultations is something that I want to go into in a little bit of detail because this is very important. Before I do, I just want to say, he says there have been 2 massive consultations. I don't know what ones he's talking about. The one which had thousands of responses was the one about the congestion charge, not the Mill Road Traders Association. So, on the GCP website, they have all of their various consultations, of which there have been many. Now, the Mill Road consultation was back in here, February 2022. Okay, and is a consultation. It's closed now, obviously, but that's when it was. February 2022, a whole year ago. All right, and they don't say in it. You can't actually access the consultation now, unfortunately, so I can't see the wording of it. But that's an important point which I'm about to pick up on. First, for now, I just want to say this is what they've basically loosely categorized the consultation as. They need to improve it. What shall we do? Do nothing. We want to improve the quality of the place. We want to make changes to traffic and access the medium and longer term. That doesn't say we want to close the bridge. What is your opinion on that? So at no point would they have been able to get this result, wherever I've gone. They would never have been able to say 72% are in favour of closing the bridge. So this whole comment here is quite vague and spurious. And if you're going to call me out for making what you think of as false statements, then you obviously have to get your facts in order first. If I am wrong about this, then prove it. But I'm not wrong, I'm right. Let's look a little bit at the rules surrounding consultations. Now, this was pointed to me by a reliable source. This is on the government's website. Consultation principles, guidance. The details in the overview on the outside of it. The government has revised a set of principles, blah, 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 blah. These principles give clear guidance to government departments how to conduct consultations. We want to be able to demonstrate the government's desire to engage more effectively with the public. We will use digital methods to consult, blah, etc., etc. And then this is the important bit here for now. We will also reduce the risk of consultation fatigue by making sure we only consult on issues that are genuinely undecided. Okay, consultation fatigue. That's when you have so many consultations that you can't possibly keep up with them all or comprehend them or engage effectively or reasonably. Okay, so let's have a look here. Just on that point. These are all the consultations of the GCP. At the moment, there's one for the York Area Resident Parking Scheme. They want to restrict the parking access to that. They've got a consultation on the St Ives Greenway from Over and Fen Drayton, connecting that to St Ives. Another one on the other side from the St Ives Greenway to Oakington and Cottenham. You've got one for Water Beach, you've got one for Newmarket Road, you've got one for Barton Greenway, you've got one for Horningsea Greenway, Sawston Greenway, and then there's the Making Connections one, which is the Sustainable Travel Zone consultation, which is closed now. I won't read them all out, but you can see there are loads of consultations here. Okay, they come along, they're open for 3 months or so, and then they close, and they say, right, now you've been consulted, we know what to do. So I just went down this list here. This goes all the way back to June 2018. Tell me if you think that this doesn't constitute or isn't likely to lead to consultation fatigue. In 2018, there were 10 consultations. In 2019, there were 11. In 2020, which is the pandemic year when everybody was concentrating on on COVID and looking at the news about that, they had 14 consultations. In 2021, when COVID was still lingering on and the economy was opening back up and people were worrying about their livelihoods and things like that, they had 11 consultations. And in 2022, the year that's just gone, there were 15 consultations. 15. Right? So in the last 5 years, there have been a total of 60 separate individual consultations, all to do with various sections, little schemes and sub-schemes of the GCP's huge overarching project to completely transform the layout of Cambridge's roads and infrastructure. 60. Now you tell me whether you think that is going to reduce the risk of consultation fatigue. I will let you make up your own mind about that, because I think my mind is fairly well certain. Okay, the second point here, and I haven't even gone into the principles yet, this is just the front page. We only want to consult on issues that are genuinely undecided. So, I only learned about this yesterday. Another part of the GCP's elaborate plans are the Cambridge-Camborne C2C busway. Okay, so here we have Camborne and here we have Cambridge. They want to change or upgrade or change the busway, right? And we'll go into detail about that in another video, you definitely believe that, because this one is absolutely insane, completely ridiculous, totally destructive and outrageous. It's illegal. Anyway, so the guidelines say we only want to consult on issues that are genuinely undecided. So that consultation took place last... the Coton one took place quite a long time ago, actually. Let me see. Yeah. So May 2022, they had their consultation for something which they say, or they're supposed to say, is undecided. The consultation has closed. They haven't reached their decision yet, and they haven't signed off or voted on it in the council. Yet, they have started digging these enormous trenches along the route. Now, this is a few weeks old. This was from December, but a picture was taken yesterday, which I was showing. They're digging trenches today, to this very day, digging trenches for the environment. What do you call it? The geological survey, to see how it is under the ground, because they're going to lay these foundations for this new immense busway which they want to put. This is all greenbelt territory, and they want to tear down or demolish or bulldoze through a conservation area, a nature reserve, the Coton Orchard, which houses, you know, innumerable species of wildlife and trees, and has been there for centuries. I don't know how long it's been there, but I just can't understand why they would want to do that. Anyway, the point I'm making is that they are not undecided. They've already decided. They've already decided to put their applications in. They expect this to go through. They have already made up their mind. So that is not being stuck to. Consultation fatigue has been achieved, and they are consulting on things that they have already made up their mind about. That is clear to see. That is obvious. So just one quick further point. In the actual guidelines themselves, and now this is another thing which I'm very annoyed about. This is the important point. Consultation should facilitate scrutiny. Publish any response on the same page of the government website as the original consultation, and ensure that it is clear when the government has responded to the consultation. Explain the responses that have been received from consultees and how these have informed the policy. State how many responses have been received. Publish responses within 12 weeks of the consultation, or provide an explanation why this is not possible. Look here. 60 separate surveys dating back to 2018. Not one of these has been published. They have not shared the results. They don't respond to freedom of information requests, and they don't tell people how the results are being interpreted. They have a plan which they are bowling ahead with, and they are using, I should say, misusing the consultation mechanism as a way to create their own mandate and to manufacture consent amongst the unwitting, often unwilling, and even outside of the knowledge or awareness of most of the public. And this is a scheme which is going to impact 100% of people. Some people are going to lose their livelihoods. A lot of people are going to have to spend a lot of money, extra money every year. There have been ongoing campaigns that go back years to raise awareness about these, to argue against them. There's petitions about most of it. Petitions about the Camborne busway, petitions about the Mill Road thing, petitions about the congestion charge. Public opinion has been made very clear. We've got, so just the first one, you've got a Conservative Party poll, 89% say no to the charge. You have the Cambridge Live, the news website, did their own poll. 84% very negative, 2% slightly negative, 1% neutral, 3% slightly positive. So basically you've got 13% positive, and 86% negative. And I actually did a little mock-up, a little graphic for you here, just to show you something quite interesting. As at the 5th of February, which was 7 days ago, a week ago, it was 86% negative and 13% positive, and 5 days later than that, it had gone down to 12% positive and gone up to 87%. And so one person had changed their mind, or one percentile had moved from positive to negative. So the trajectory is actually turning against positivity and towards negativity. There are multiple examples. Hundreds of people have expressed in eloquent form, prose, their deep, grave concerns. Loads and loads and loads of people have written to the GCP. They've, innumerable posts and articles and opinion pieces about this thing. It is very clearly obvious what the public mood is, in spite of the fact that there hasn't been a fully comprehensive official poll or survey in the form of something like a referendum, which is the only way that you would actually be able to genuinely say for sure that you have consulted everybody and you know everybody's point of view. That is the closest thing you can get to an actual full-on survey. Other surveys are only little bits, little snippets of public opinion. You might have 1,000 people asked here. I went up Mill Road. I only managed to ask 10 people, because obviously it takes time to do these things. But I asked about 10 different companies. 9 of them were against, and 1 of them was in favour. And they weren't in favour, really. They were only just kind of saying that it wasn't going to affect them that badly, so they hadn't really thought about it. That isn't the same as being fully positive. That's just being not totally negative. But anybody who looks into this thing close enough will know and can see very easily what is actually going on here. So this is my response to you, Cambridge Livable Streets campaigner. First of all, show me how you got that 72% thing. Or retract your comment that there has actually been a survey. 2 massive consultations. It's not 2 massive consultations. It's 60 separate mini consultations, all about in completely vast and elaborate sprawling areas of a scheme, which is impossible for normal human beings to keep up with. I don't remember there being a billboard. Maybe you could show me a picture. Posters in the shops. What I've heard from the word of mouth is that Dave Bagent has actually been tearing posters down from the shops. So there, answer me that question. Facebook postings constantly. Everybody knows that Facebook algorithm is difficult. Sometimes you put a post up, most people don't see it. Newspaper articles, same thing. Radio debates, probably extremely biased BBC radio debates, if you ask my opinion. Both came out with a majority to restrict the traffic. How have you come to that conclusion? Show me your workings and demonstrate that you are not telling lies out of your arse. Excuse me for my language, but that is what you make me feel when you come at me like this, in this way. I am completely in favour of people discussing this. I am totally alright with people disagreeing. I like to have debates and I like to have discourse. But if you're just going to call me out for some the tiny aspect of a 45-minute video, one comment that I've made that you obviously don't approve of, and then put a lie there to back yourself up, you're only making yourself look like a complete idiot. Now, I'm new to this, alright? Actually putting myself and my words and my opinions into the public sphere is quite a big thing to choose to do, okay? And I am madly furious about some of the aspects of what I'm seeing. What you've got is a campaign which is based on mostly dubious information, if not complete fabrications, flimsy evidence or non-existent evidence. You've got public consultations which are being completely misused to manipulate public opinion and distort public opinion. And then you have the fucking gall or the temerity to tell me that I'm in the wrong. No, I'm not. So this is just, this is an indictment, if anything. The GCP have got so much to answer for, and I've only been learning about this for about 2.5 months, since December. Actually, since November, I've been onto this, and I started out with an open mind. I always start things out with an open mind, because if you don't know something, you've got to go and learn it before your mind gets made up. Now, the sad fact is, the truth of it is that the more you learn and the deeper you go, the more shocking and outrageous the behaviour of the GCP appears. Now, that's not my fault. That's not a preconceived opinion. That is not an agenda with me with an axe to grind. I am learning about this from an honest outsider's perspective. The GCP are just unbelievable in their ambition and their scope, and their unaccountability and their arrogance and the hubris to think that they could just basically push all of these things through or make it slip past without people being aware, and that people weren't going to have something to say about it. And the reason why I'm doing this, the only reason why I'm doing this, is because you're presenting something which is going to affect my town. It's going to affect my home. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to do this. Nobody wants to have to do this. We're doing it because you're doing it. We're trying to protect our town from you. So just think about that. And this isn't the only comment that this guy, Living Streets Cambridge, has left. There's been a few, you know. And every time I argue back at him, or I just basically respond to him with my side of my point of view, he realises that it's an argument that he can't grapple with, so the conversation goes cold, and then he jumps onto something else and then sends another comment. And he's an activist, he's a campaigner. But you're in the minority, mate. And what you're doing is wrong. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't have clean air and clean streets. It's just that what you're doing is so inflammatory and divisive and destructive and damaging. And there isn't really any proper need for it. I mean, very, very good point, which was raised in this video a few times. The cyclists have their own bridge. It's called Carter Bridge. The cyclists have their own bridge, and it costs about £2 million to build. And now you want to block this road off and have that for yourselves. I mean, is there ever going to be an end to what you want? Are you going to ban cars completely? Are you going to rest until all working people have been driven out of town and you can just drive around in some weird delusion of luxury and utopia, telling yourselves that you're saving the planet when you aren't? Answer me that, Living Streets campaigner. If you can't, then just keep quiet. No one's going to judge you for not saying anything, but they are definitely going to judge you for pointing out things which aren't real. It's crazy. And there is another thing that I want to say, which I will actually just put into the next video, or maybe I'll just do it in this. This guy, James McDonald, has said, Echo, show me biased reporting. Now, I assume that what he means by that is that I'm a hypocrite because this is biased reporting. Yeah, maybe, fair enough. I didn't get the views of everybody. But I'm only one person. I do work for a living. I snatched this free day because my plans were changed at the last minute, so I found myself with a few hours to spare, and I walked up the road and asked people what they thought. That's what I did. I didn't put words in their mouths. I haven't edited their responses. But the fact is that most people were saying the exact same thing. That's not me being biased. That's just me showing you what I found that day. I'm not a professional. I don't do this for a living. I haven't got millions of pounds at my disposal like the BBC. You know, give me a break. James McDonald. I do try not to be biased. If I do have a bias, everybody has a bias. I have a bias towards the truth, simply. So I will try to get to the truth, and I will try to read between the lines of what I'm seeing and hearing. But sometimes the facts are just obvious. So, I mean, I've got a lot of videos in my mind of what I sort of intend to make. Whether I'll be able to make all of them is a question mark, because that's life, isn't it? And I'll do my best. But yeah, bias is something which I'm very aware of. Journalism is a tricky thing. You have to be careful. So I appreciate your point. You know, fair enough. You observed that this is a piece of bias reporting. In the bigger picture, it isn't really. It's one man's attempt to try to counteract the extreme bias of the mainstream media and the BBC. That's what I'm doing. And if it happens to be that 99% of everything I show is of one opinion, that just is another example of another indicator of what public opinion actually is. So anyway, there you have it for today. I'll get back to the other bits of news, and there is a lot that I've found out which is very concerning and alarming, and so there will be more videos to follow. I invite you all to watch them and listen carefully and make up your mind. If you have something to say, make a comment. If you're going to say something stupid, expect an ass whooping from me. Or if I say something wrong, then by all means call me out on it. It's good to be kept in check by observers, especially when you've decided to put yourself out into the public domain. So I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing how this thing continues. On that note, I shall say goodbye and leave you to it then. Thank you. And just a last word to remind everybody, if you need reminding, there is a protest happening on the 26th of February. Do come along. It would be great if we could have more people than last time. Don't just, hear about it and think about it and do nothing. Actually come along. It's important to make a demonstration. The meeting points are Sainsbury's on Brooks Road, Tesco's on Newmarket Road, and Shire Hall on Castle Hill, all meeting at 12 o'clock midday and walking to converge on Parker's Piece. So yeah, hope to see lots and lots and lots of people there showing their support and agreement.